opposed more, or would oppose more for this particular position than Rebecca Water. We had her as a witness here. We talked to her. We asked her questions. Her statements she's made in the past talking about hydraulic fracturing, quote, has a nasty track record of creating a toxic chemical soup that pollutes groundwater and streams, threatening public health and wildlife. I mean, you know, you're having someone who is an advocate of a position, and it doesn't seem to bother anybody. Nobody cares. You know, here we are talking about energy independence, and we recognize that 80% of the future, this is not just natural gas, but also oil, it depends on hydraulic fracturing. The first hydraulic fracturing was done in my state of Oklahoma way back in 1948, and there's never been a documented case of groundwater contamination. Now, I just find out this morning with a conversation with Lisa Jackson, the EPA administrator, that in fact they have a preliminary findings, and we know all about this study, that suggests that there's a link between groundwater contamination and fracking. While I've not yet seen the data, I find it extremely curious. About a month ago, my staff was advised by the Region 8 EPA administrator that the last round of samples didn't yield any new information, and at that time had no evidence of hydraulic fracturing. But you know, it's been the goal of this administration to kill fossil fuels with whatever they have to do it. This one happens to be hydraulic fracturing, because otherwise you can't get at these tight formations. Everybody knows it. And it's not just oil and gas, it's geothermal and others. So, I told the administrator this morning that we went through this thing with the endangerment finding almost 2 years ago, and only to find out that the science had been cooked. We have an IG report that says they cut corners. And I suggest the same thing would be true here. They did not go through the legitimate peer review that is required. And so I'm going to demand in this case that they go through a peer review process, and that we, Madam Chairman, have a participation in that, in determining who is going to be doing that reviewing. So I think this is, a lot of people will be dancing in the streets saying, oh, we can kill fossil fuels now, this is what we need. And the American people are not that dumb. And so I think that I would oppose, of course, her nomination, as I've already stated. I would oppose, but this is something that's brand new, just happened, and I find it very, very offensive. But I'm not surprised.
Well, I'm surprised that.